Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends. Seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view, go to YouTube or just simply type in capital letters RBRIMO. Okay? And then hit enter. Then go to videos and hit enter. You'll see all of the In My Opinion Show's programming. I want to welcome our very stellar panel. We have Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron and ladies.
We have Miss Denise Smith-Allen.
Hi, Ron.
We have Mrs. Jackie Williams.
Hi, Ron.
Welcome all to the In My Opinion Show. Let's talk about some more stupidity in Lansing. Michigan House and Senate passed anti-abortion legislation to make women buy rape insurance, also denying insurance companies to pay for women's abortions if there is incest and rape. What stupidity by those representatives in Lansing, both Republican and Democrat, that voted for this draconian law. Like a woman has a crystal ball, knowing when incest or rape is about to happen. I don't understand where these people's minds are. All right, maybe they're like that other guy. Maybe they're all on Oxycontin or something, all right, or they're on drugs them damn selves. But I mean, to me, any rational person wouldn't even propose any of this kind of stuff. Jackie, what is your thoughts?
I think this is very scary because when you put out a law like this is what you do. You open up so many doors for wrongdoings, because if somebody is raped and they don't have any way to abort the baby, then that opens up doors for illegal activity. And then you have hate, telling them that they have to raise a child that was, created out of hatred. And so you build up a whole bunch of different situations. And so I think we're building a society that is not being fair to the woman. And on top of that, I think it was a lot of men that voted on this, and the last I checked, none of them would even need the rape insurance that doesn't exist. And I think it was very insensitive.
Well, I also, just to add to that, is that, in my personal opinion, if a child or if a woman is impregnated through incest, all right, I think that person should be castrated, plain and simple. Denise, what is your thoughts?
Okay, well, I don't know what to say behind that, because now you've added an element to this discussion, because you're talking about penalizing the person who perpetuates something, and so that's a criminal act. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's whole nother ball of wax.
Well, I just don't want him to go to jail. I mean, I want him to go to prison too.
Yeah.
But without some things.
Okay, all right. Well, then we'll add that discussion at a later point. But getting back to the whole idea of a legislative body who would be that insensitive to, as Jackie was saying, to enact such laws that basically they have really no understanding. For a woman to be traumatized by that whole element of incest or rape, and then to be traumatized further by having to carry a child that was not planned for nor wanted at that particular time. Now, it's easy for anyone to sit up and talk about what should happen when you're not that person. Mm-hmm. But for anyone to have to go through anything like that, that's a whole nother ball of wax. And I think that there was no real discussion about this. They didn't have any type of open discussion for women who have actually had this experience and giving them other options. I mean, even if you're talking about if the woman goes to term with this child, okay, what happens to this child? Because that child may not be a wanted child, and so then there's a whole element of where does that child go? So the child may go to foster care, which also would create some other issues as far as funding for that child being placed with a family, and on and on and on. So I really think that they did not do their due diligence in terms of actually having an open discussion with women who have actually either been impacted or could be impacted. And that could be any female that's of childbearing age. So it was just, to me, it was wrong. And it was not well thought of, because it's all about an agenda. And it's unfortunate, because we're talking about partisan politics, that there is a group that's right now who is in control, and they have an agenda. And they're dealing particularly about the agenda, and they're not looking at the human element in this. And that is the woman who is going through this horrific situation. And then to be insulted with having to pay. Oh, that's just ludicrous.
It really is, and
that's my opinion.
And to add to that is that for all of these idiot, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, when they go home, hopefully their wives will close up the candy shop on them, and they'll stop this stupid ass foolishness. Henry, what is your thoughts?
Well, first, I guess I ought to criticize the Democrats first, who are part of this, and then exonerate the Republicans on the other side.
How in the world could you exonerate the Republicans if they vote for some nonsense like this? Or Democrats, for that matter?
Look at how much we don't know about all the things that we're talking about that does not converge.
But it's not a matter of converging or not. It's just a matter of bringing this stuff up.
No, we got to figure out. We've got to be rational. But consider all of the babies that are born that are unwanted. Out of every pregnancy, there are lots of women have multiple babies. They're not wanted, but they happen. You can argue this all you want to, but we're talking about the logic of the situation. There are many women who get impregnated, don't want their children, that see them through. 9 months. Those are women who love children. And and the only difference between a legitimate child and a non-legitimate child is a piece of paper.
Wait a minute, hold up.
Now, it's my time to talk. I'm on a roll.
Okay.
Let's see where this goes. And I just think that there are too many factors that we argue here about rights and wrongs, and when we have not discerned ourselves about what constitutes an issue or an event being a right event. It depends on who's looking at it. Okay? Now, I think that there are people out there who really look at, who may really believe the religious element, the right to life. I think that there may be people in the legislature believe that. Now, maybe we don't believe it, but there are others who really believe in protecting the integrity of life of a child through abortion. And I'm sure that you've seen that many, many times. So it's wrong to rape a woman and impregnate her, okay? No problem. But somewhere we've got to make all of these issues converge on a platform so that all of us can look at what's right and what's wrong. But you can't do it by just all of a sudden. A woman comes up raped and she has a child, and you say the child's not wanted, you say the child's born in hate, and so on and so forth. You can't say that. You're speculating. And when people make these decisions, they may still be concerned about the killing of a child, no matter who that child is, no matter what color it is, no matter what gender it is. There's some people who really believe that.
Well, probate court as well as foster homes and adoption agencies are jam packed full of unwanted children.
I know.
Okay.
Many of them are born in high schools.
And the ones that they're messed up for life. Pretty much, I would think. All right, I'm not a authority on or a psychoanalyst or a social worker or a psychiatrist or any of that. All I'm saying is that, in my opinion, I would think that if you're unwanted, you're going to have some serious issues.
My mother had 11 children. How many of them were wanted?
She probably wanted all of her children. Okay, once they were born, and she saw somebody like Henry, she said, "Oh my God, my beautiful son! son, I love him just like I love the other 10. Okay, but we're talking about under the best of circumstances. Here we're talking about a legislative body who said buy rape insurance. So let's not deviate from where we're talking about here.
Exactly.
Buying rape insurance. That's ludicrous. That is absolutely, I don't care, you cannot define it. Stevie Wonder can see this. This is ludicrous. You do not penalize women who have been subjected to the most humiliating experience called rape and then tell them, we're going to charge you a premium, okay, in case this thing happens. That's just insane. And there's no way you can justify it. I don't care. Right to life
You're
or not.
politicizing the issue. We're talking
This
about
is what
killing
this
a
is.
child.
This is political because they made it political,
No,
Henry.
we're talking about killing a child.
This is a political situation here.
Who politicized it?
The House and Senate who passed this law.
Well, they had to pass it one way or the other.
No, they
They
didn't have to
didn't
pass
have to
it at
touch
all.
it. They did not have to even touch this thing.
I already said that it did have pockets of insanity in it. Okay.
Oh, you agree with us that it is
say
insane.
it did
Okay.
not have
Because
that.
rape insurance doesn't even exist. Where can you get it?
I never heard of it before.
Well, but this is what they're saying.
This is what
Buy
they're saying.
rape
You
Read
gotta
insurance.
buy
everything that you read.
And it's not part of the Affordable Care Act either.
It's not a part of your insurance, but this is what you're telling us. So it's never mind, because right now this is what the law is. So if somebody gets raped in Michigan, they have to have
It has
rape
to be
insurance.
tested to before it really becomes the law. It has to be tested. It has to go through a court of law. You know that.
Of course I do. So what they're going to do, and just hear me out now, a 13-year-old raped, pregnant. So their parent has to go through this process. Okay? Demoralizing, dehumanizing, the parent does not want to subject their child to that. Because that child has already been traumatized. Why should they have to go through any of this? This is just insanity.
Well, see, I don't know all of what kind of.
I just gave you an
whole
example. I just gave you an
the
example, but I can
parents
tell
have.
you that
I don't
in
think that all
America,
parents care about their children.
that's true. That's a whole. That's a whole nother
You
discussion.
don't know where they are most of the time.
Yeah, that's
you walk
another
through a high
discussion.
school, you see many pot bellies.
That's another discussion.
No,
I
that's
just-
not a pot.
The conversation is rape and incest insurance, plain and simple.
Okay.
Okay,
I'd say that it has.
Not
We
willing
need to-
insurance. That's willing it. You don't need willing insurance. That means you're
But it
willing.
does have pockets of insanity.
insanity. It's just insane. And how dare they do that? You know, Michigan has enough going on that's negative. And if this made CNN News, are we not the laughing stock of America?
No.
Yeah, we are.
This is
Yes,
what
we
we
are.
do. Well, how can you say that? What we do, we have the capacity to look at situations that occur in society and draft legislation to curb certain repeats of behaviors that are not accepted by the public.
So the woman has invited the rape? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you say it's insane. Mm-hmm. But the people will decide that. The plurality of the people will decide that through a court of law.
Well, these whoever voted for this, are insane and stupid. In my opinion, idiots. All right. If something like that were to happen to my daughter, all right, whoever the person is, his breath would be numbered. That's all I
Well,
can say.
Then you'd get involved in situations that you don't want to be involved in.
Well, he wouldn't have to worry about that happening again. You know what I mean? That's you can bank on that.
But and besides, you haven't given the people who believe in the right to life, you haven't heard from them yet.
Well, let them people in the right to life take care of them damn kids.
Well,
All right.
Yeah, and
You know,
that
I
would
hear
be
all
my
that bullshit
position.
all the time. You know,
That
right
would
to
be
life,
my
right to
position.
life, right to life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come
we
on,
would
right to
probably
life.
not be here
Okay.
without the people who believed in the right to life.
No.
You
No,
know,
no.
you right to life, folks. You come on and take care of these kids. You know, you so gung ho on this right to life shit.
But
you
there's a
take care of them.
philosophy out there, and there's political will of people to protect unborn children.
Yeah,
Well,
but
strong
what
among
expense?
human beings.
Oh, at what
Not
expense?
maybe between us, but there's a strong element out there that's an unbelievable element of people who really believe that unborn children should be protected.
At what
Well, I believe they
expense,
should be protected, but at whose expense?
Yeah.
But it's,
Let them take
the
care of it.
unborn child it's not their fault that this happened.
But it's not the,
So why do
the
you
victim's
want to
fault
murder the
either.
child who has no choice in the matter?
There's two
He's a
victims.
human being.
There's two victims. There's two victims.
Okay,
The
explain.
person that's raped is a victim,
Okay.
and if they're pregnant, the baby's a victim. So
Oh,
there's two
no,
victims.
no.
Yeah, there's two
only
victims.
one.
No, there's
It's the
two.
baby. The mother continues to live.
Well, so does the
The
baby.
mother is traumatized.
She's
The mother
traumatized.
is
How do you know the mama is traumatized?
because of forcible rape. Please, please. You know, you
Everybody's
sound
not
you.
traumatized by all of it.
Yes, they are, Henry, and you sound really. You know, that saddens me to
Stupid,
think. Well, I didn't want to say that,
But
but I'm just.
yes.
But you're not listening to how you sound. Okay, someone takes something from you that you did not willingly give to them.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm talking about a person's. This is the most intimate part of their body, and you're going to take that, and you do not think that a person is traumatized.
No.
Then you don't. Well, then
I don't think that everybody goes through that. What you're saying.
well, you're sadly mistaken.
All we have to do is just look at us unwanted pregnancies.
Unwanted pregnancies.
not
These
unwanted
women, these women who
unwanted
have
babies through pregnancies that are given willingly.
okay, willing women who have a relationship with a fellow who they liked or maybe went with for a time, whatever that case may be. That's a relationship that was mutual. But something that's not mutual, someone comes and takes your body unwillingly. That is a trauma. I don't care how you cut it. That is a trauma, and that affects a woman. And sometimes it affects them for the rest of their lives if they're not treated for
I
that.
agree that there are women who are hurt by this.
Okay, well
Yeah,
now you're making sense, Henry, because just
I was
what you were
making sense
saying.
before.
No, you were not.
But you
were
wouldn't,
not.
you wouldn't hear me.
But you weren't making sense.
We're
Yeah.
listening, Henry.
Yeah.
Say it again because we didn't hear you.
But there are women that who are traumatized by that. Would I want it to happen to my daughter? No.
And incest is just as bad because
incest is worse.
Absolutely.
Incest. You didn't ask me about incest,
all of it's
but-
bad.
but you dwelled on rape by others.
Right.
Incest is bad. I would agree with you.
Good.
And that because I think nature itself speaks to that. Incest should never happen.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's change the subject. Fugitive National Security Agency leaker Edward Snowden calls for an end to mass surveillance of American citizens. The government is watching everything from the skies overhead, your passports, your driver's license, credit cards, credit reports, phone calls, even to how much television you watch, your emails, snitching on your neighbor reports. The list is endless. George Orwell, 1984, Big Brother is watching. Has nothing on what's occurring in today's climate in America. I thought we had a constitution that protects whistleblowers. I think the National Security Agency is gone overboard with this surveillance stuff. For me, it's just more of this these terror tactics from whatever wherever it's coming from. Okay, I don't know what the agenda is, but I'm inclined to think is that if we as American citizens don't stand up and fight these intrusions, all right, we're going to be in one heck of a spot. Henry, what's your thought?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that we're overboard on surveilling the surveillance of the public. We should be able to look at the public who, for whatever reason, is trying to overthrow the government for whatever reason or kill people massively. But I don't think that we need to withhold our strategies to go after them if they intend to bring harm against the United States. And I think that the surveillance is really for harm against the United States, not a harm against individuals necessarily. But I think that the president and Holder have to be cautious about how they go after the American people. American people are not ready for that. None of us are.
Well, I agree with you that, but published reports state that your phone companies are in cahoots. You know what I mean, with these governmental agencies. They're giving what we thought was privileged information, to the government. These, the phone connections and the satellite hookups that they got. They've got stuff that, hell, they can look right through your home. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Look at the things that you have to go through when you go to the airport. All right?
But I don't think
it's
it's
very invasive.
I don't think they're doing surveillance on people to the degree that we think they are.
Well,
why would the government have any interest in me?
I think
they won't spend 24 hours a day.
Sure they would.
I think what happens a lot of times is that the surveillance that we think is going on is not as severe as one might think, but there are ways in which they can get information by doing surveys and different things of that nature, and that can be utilized to figure out what people are thinking and what they're doing. So, that's not as doesn't seem as detrimental to our well-being by someone asking questions of you, overtly asking questions of you and getting information and telling you that as far as research is concerned. Okay, and if they feel as though there's a need, if there's 200 calls coming from Henry's house, okay, there may be going to one number, there might be some concern, okay, and so they're trying to figure out what are you doing, Henry? What are you doing that you would make that many phone calls to this one person? Maybe you're harassing them. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But actually, it's none of their damn business.
But it is. Say 200 phone calls from one phone to one individual. There may be suggest something. So there's a pattern. So they can look at patterns.
They ask the computer to look at the emanation of all phone calls from one address.
But it's still invasion of your privacy.
A reasonable approach. Do it in a reasonable approach.
See, but then that's probably the issue. Reasonable. What may be reasonable to you may not be reasonable to me.
But if they set the baseline at 200, everybody's not going to get 200 calls a day or a year from one place.
That's how they're catching people, is because people are doing exactly what you're saying. They're repeatedly doing things.
That could be dangerous to national security. That could be.
If those calls maybe were going overseas or something, or to another country, all right? But there's some people that make 200 calls to the same person, whether it might be a kid, a sick kid, a grandmother, a mother, father, or whatever.
Fishing, Ron.
No, just to talk. All right?
No, Ron, I believe that we have cells in the United States that can connect with each other just like they would overseas. And if there's too many phone calls from one particular phone going to one particular group that is outside of what, like I said, you said it well, the baseline, okay? Maybe some people get 200 phone calls in a month. But now out of this household, there's 200 phone calls going to a direct number, okay? And there may be some question about this person who's receiving these calls. And so then they start looking at the surveillance on both ends. What's going on here? I can understand that. And I can appreciate that. Okay, because now when you're talking about national security, I'm not so much concerned about the threat from the outside. I'm concerned about the threat from the inside. There are things going on in this country now that makes us a little wary, or at least we should be. Okay? And no, I'm not saying that I want to be surveilled. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that if there's some things that are going on that are above a certain, level, then it should be looked at. It definitely should be looked at.
Please look at it.
Well, I think that the government, is on a mission, all right, to inflict paranoia, okay, in this country, and they have
When
these
you say
things.
the government,
The
be
government.
explicit. Are you talking about the Democrats?
Isn't a Republican government?
No. Hang on for a minute.
No.
Follow the
Democrats
point.
and Republicans.
Follow the point.
Okay, go ahead.
Democrats and Republicans,
No,
all right,
well, hang on.
are part of the government.
I just want to clarify something.
Okay,
Are you talking about the president?
could possibly. All right, I mean,
But it's not the whole country.
he's in charge of NSA and CIA and
But,
FBI
I don't think
and all of
I'm
that
a
stuff.
Republican, and I don't think that Barack Obama's looking over my shoulders.
Well, I would hope not, but the way things are going, everybody, seems like to me,
I don't believe it.
people are getting unduly paranoid.
I had to
in
ask
this
that question
country.
just to explain my position.
But this has been a great conversation. Unfortunately, we must bring it to a close all too quickly. I want to thank Mr. Henry Hatter,
Thank you.
Mr. Neesmith Allen, Mr. Jackie Williams,
Okay.
and I want to thank our millions of viewers worldwide for looking in. This is Ronald Berry Robinson for the In My Opinion Show. Until next time, stay focused.